You live in a world where the honest are devoured, the naive are exploited, and the loudest fools rise to power. If you keep playing fair in a game rigged against you, you'll keep losing. In the next few minutes, I will give you Machiavelli's secrets, not for surviving this world, but for bending it to your will. The truth is not enough. It never has been. And if you believe that being right is the same as being powerful, then you have already lost before the battle begins. Power, my friend, is rarely about the reality of who you are. It is about what the world believes you to be. The masses, your rivals, even your allies, they do not follow truth, they follow the appearance of strength. They are drawn not to the man who is good, but to the man who appears unshakable, inevitable, destined to win. If you are wise but appear timid, you will be ignored. If you are skilled but appear uncertain, you will be doubted. If you are capable but appear desperate, you will be taken advantage of. The weak suffer not because they lack ability, but because they fail to project dominance. You must understand, human beings are storytellers by nature, and they will write your story for you, unless you write it yourself. Machiavelli understood this. With ruthless clarity, a prince does not need to be loved nor even respected. He needs to be seen as formidable. The perception of strength keeps enemies hesitant, allies loyal, and the masses in awe. Whether you actually hold power or not is secondary to whether others believe you do, because once they believe it, they will act in ways that make it real. Consider the battlefield, not of swords and shields, but of politics, business, relationships. The strongest army does not always win. The army believed to be strongest often does. Men will abandon a cause they think is lost, even if victory is still possible. People invest their trust, their loyalty, their money in those who appear untouchable. That is the great illusion of power. It becomes self-fulfilling, and here is the dangerous truth. Perception is easier to create than reality. You do not need to win every battle. You simply need to control the narrative of each battle. Even a loss can be reframed as a strategic retreat. Even a weakness can be spun as a deliberate choice. The public rarely sees the details. They see the stage you build for them. Your tone, your posture, your words, all become weapons in this game. Speak with certainty even when you are unsure. Move with calm authority even when you are under pressure. Let them believe you hold the map to the future, and they will follow you even into chaos. Do not mistake this for deception alone. It is strategy. If the people believe you are strong, they will behave as though you are. Your enemies will second guess their attacks. Your allies will defend you without you asking. Opportunities will open simply because others assume you are the one to give them meaning. You must make yourself the sun around which their world orbits, not by begging for their attention, but by making it impossible for them to imagine a world without you. This is the foundation of all power, not truth, but the perception of inevitability. And once you grasp this, you will see why those who appear to hold the throne often hold it far longer than those who actually deserve it. The strongest man in the room is not the one with the loudest voice or the heaviest fist. It is the one who can make others move without raising his hand. Force is the tool of the desperate. It is noisy, it is crude, and it leaves enemies who remember the sting of your hand. Strategy, on the other hand, is silent, elegant, and leaves people believing they acted of their own free will. A wise ruler, a cunning leader, a truly dangerous individual understands that power gained through force alone burns quickly. Power gained through strategy lasts. Machiavelli warned that a leader who relies only on brute strength is like a man who builds his fortress on sand. It may look imposing today, but the first wave of misfortune will wash it away. Force invites resistance. People will endure it when they must, but they will dream of the day they can rise against you. Strategy, however, plants no such dream. Strategy convinces them that rebellion is pointless, or even against their own interest. Imagine two rulers. One rules by the sword, striking fear into all who oppose him. The other rules by shaping alliances, planting seeds of loyalty, and subtly removing threats before they become dangerous. The first ruler sleeps with a guard at his door and a dagger under his pillow. The second ruler sleeps peacefully, because even his enemies believe they have something to gain by keeping him in power. The art lies in shaping the battlefield before the battle begins. Do not wait for the moment of crisis to show your hand. Ensure that moment never comes. If you control the flow of information, the positions of key players, the timing of events, then victory is not a question of strength, but of inevitability. The strongest fighters in history have lost to weaker ones simply because they allowed their opponent to choose the ground and the hour. And here is the cruel beauty of strategy. When it works, no one notices. The world praises your luck, your charm, your timing, without ever realizing that you engineered every move. You guide rivals into conflict with one another so that they have no time to unite against you. You reward loyalty in public while punishing betrayal in silence. You present your decisions as concessions, when in truth they are victories dressed in humility. The most effective control is invisible. You do not need to shout commands. Everyone already acts in your favor. You do not need to enforce loyalty if disloyalty seems unprofitable. You do not need to demand obedience if rebellion seems absurd. This is not about playing fair. It is about playing long. Those who seek quick results swing the hammer. Those who seek lasting power move the pieces. In a game ruled by force, the strongest wins today. In a game ruled by strategy, the strategist wins forever. That is why the wise do not waste energy on every skirmish. They direct the flow of the war. They do not need to be feared every moment because they have ensured that no moment exists in which they can be replaced. If you wish to rule men, you must first learn the script they cannot stop acting out. Human beings like to believe they are complex, mysterious, impossible to understand. But strip away the mask, and you will see the same patterns repeated in every age, in every culture, in every soul. People are driven by the same forces they always have been: desire, fear, pride, greed, and the desperate need to protect their own self-image. A ruler who knows this does not need to guess the next move. He already knows it before it happens. Machiavelli saw that human nature is not a shifting tide. It is the bedrock beneath the water. Men will betray for profit, yet they will also die for honor. They will obey when they fear punishment, yet they will also obey when they believe obedience makes them virtuous. They crave security, but will risk everything for the chance to be great. And once you understand these contradictions, you can pull the strings without ever being seen. Observe how quickly people forgive those who flatter them, even after deep betrayal. Notice how they rally behind anyone who promises them what they already long to hear. Look at how suspicion and envy will make them turn on allies who rise too quickly. You do not need supernatural powers to predict human behavior. You need only to watch them with cold clarity, free of illusions. In politics, a leader can predict the rise of rebellion simply by measuring hunger and frustration. In business, an opponent's next move can be seen in his need to protect his pride after a public loss. In personal relationships, loyalty can be secured by feeding someone's deepest need for recognition. The patterns are always there. Most people simply refuse to see them because they are blinded by their own emotions. The key is to study not just what people do, but why they do it. A man who insults you in public may not truly hate you. He may simply fear being seen as weak. A rival who suddenly extends friendship may not be seeking peace. He may be trying to place himself where he can watch you closely. When you understand the engine driving a person's behavior, their words and actions become predictable, even inevitable. This knowledge allows you to set traps they will walk into willingly. If you know someone's greed is stronger than their caution, offer them an opportunity too tempting to resist. If you know pride is their weakness, give them a stage to display it, and watch as it leads them into overreach. If fear governs them, make yourself the only source of safety they trust. It is not enough to know the nature of one man. You must know the nature of all men. This is why the greatest leaders, the most dangerous operators, are often the most observant. They listen when others speak, not to the words, but to the motives hidden beneath. They do not waste time wishing people were better than they are. They accept human nature as it is and turn it into a weapon. Once you stop expecting people to act against their own nature, you begin to control the game they do not even realize they are playing. You will see their steps before they take them, hear their lies before they speak them, and hold the power to lead them exactly where you want them to go. The world does not reward the righteous, it rewards the effective. Morality, as most people understand it, is a code of rules handed down to keep the masses in line. It teaches obedience, humility, and restraint. And while these may be admirable virtues in a citizen, they can be fatal weaknesses. In a leader, Machiavelli knew this truth well. Those who cling to moral purity at all times will be devoured by those willing to bend the rules when it suits them. This is not to say that morality has no place in power. It does, but only when it serves your purpose. To the cunning, morality is a mask worn when it inspires trust and loyalty, and removed when it becomes a chain. The danger lies in believing that you must always act according to what is considered good in the eyes of others. If you do, you give your enemies the advantage, for they will not be bound by the same constraints. Consider the leader who refuses to deceive, even when deception could save his people, or the commander who refuses to break a promise, even when keeping it leads to disaster. Their intentions may be noble, but their fate will be ruin. History is filled with the graves of men who chose moral perfection over survival while their ruthless rivals flourished. The world remembers winners, not martyrs. The wise understand that morality is a weapon most effectively used when it is in your hand, not in your enemy's. Appear virtuous when it gains you allies. Speak of justice when it unites the crowd behind you. Present yourself as the protector of the weak when it strengthens your authority. But when morality stands in the way of your survival or your rise, cast it aside without hesitation. Let your actions be judged not by their purity, but by their results. The masses rarely see beyond appearances. If you must betray, do it in shadows and emerge with clean hands. If you must act with cruelty, frame it as necessity. If you must break a promise, present it as a sacrifice for the greater good. They will forgive almost anything if you give them a reason to believe it served their interests. The appearance of morality can be more powerful than morality itself. This is why the most dangerous leaders often seem the most righteous. They speak in the language of virtue while maneuvering with the precision of predators. They allow their enemies to underestimate them, to believe they are bound by the same moral code until it is too late. And when the final move is made, the masses will not even realize that the rules they believed in were never truly followed. Morality is not a prison for the strong. It is a tool, a banner, a disguise. It can win you loyalty without demanding sacrifice. It can disarm suspicion while you prepare your strike. It can keep your enemies restrained, believing you are playing the same game, even as you quietly change the rules in your favor. The mistake is not in using morality. The mistake is in serving it blindly, without recognizing that it was never designed for the one who seeks to rule. Asterisk, you now hold the 4 pillars of dangerous intelligence. The understanding that power is perception, the mastery of control through strategy rather than force, the cold awareness that human nature is predictable, and the ruthless truth that morality is a tool, not a rule. Together, these are not simply ideas. They are weapons. Weapons that, if used with precision, can make you untouchable in a world where most people stumble blindly, guided by illusions and bound by rules they never questioned. But remember, this knowledge of these principles alone changes nothing. It is in their application that they transform you. Each word you speak, each move you make, each mask you wear must carry the weight of these truths. The ones who rise are not the strongest, nor the smartest. They are the ones who understand the game, see its patterns, and are willing to play it without hesitation. From this moment on, you cannot unsee what you now know. You cannot return to the comfort of believing the world rewards the good simply because they are good. You cannot go back to thinking that fairness wins wars or that honesty alone commands loyalty. You have stepped into the shadows where real power moves, subtle, silent, unseen. And in this place, the question is no longer whether you can survive. The question is whether you are willing to become the kind of person who wins. Asterisk.